Now the K24 is home and we need to start stripping it of the parts we don't need to swap it into the S2000 and make all that work smoothly. So now we're both going to start dismantling.
I got you and your vibes in my mind, I can't get them out, no matter how hard I try. I need you and your heart next to mine, yeah, I'm all about keeping it you and I. When you're here, you spark chemical reactions, your aura strikes like lightning. Got no words, I'm just...
So starting off, I'm going to work on the intake manifold adapter because I'm using the stock F20 intake manifold and putting that on the K24. So I ordered an adapter plate from JSP and apparently it needs a little bit of modification to this side and the intake manifold side, either way, just because they are pretty different. So I'm going to start with that and start making those modifications. So I figured I would show you what I have to do in case if you want to use the stock intake manifold as well. So I'll tighten these down and then we will grab the manifold and kind of show you what needs to be cut and what the modifications on this side are. The F20 intake manifold does have the little coolant bleeder in here, which won't work with the K24. We have to cut this part of the intake manifold off, so I'm just going to go ahead and mark for that. The intake manifold, which has been cut here, as you can see, I cut that little bleeder off. Here it is. And yeah, I need to pull the studs out, so we went ahead and pulled those studs out. So that should be good. The intake manifold will need to be drilled out a little bit more to make this last bolt hole here work, but just slightly. So for the most part, I can mate everything up and make sure that it all slides in and fits with this little piece right here that keeps knocking on. Okay, so now that we have the bleeder side all squared away and I followed it down to fit perfectly in here, now we need to work on this side. So I ordered the little K-swap water adapter and it's gonna go here. So I'm gonna go put that on real quick and then show you what we're looking at. Bolted in where it's supposed to go, and then it has this little spring on it, but as you can see, this is clearly going to be too thick and this little piece should be indented in order to use the stock manifold. So I'm sure an aftermarket manifold might be able to make this piece work. I'm not 100% sure, but for using the stock manifold and the setup I'm going with, this won't work. So this hole here will have to be drilled and tapped behind it. So I think that's going to be what we're going to have to do to make that work. And with that being said, it means that we're going to have to cut this whole side of the stock manifold off. So I'm just trying to figure out where the airways end in here and where I can cut it versus so the rest of the intake manifold has been cut, so all adjustments should be made and this should fit right up now. It's significantly lighter, no complaints on that part, and it looks pretty OEM, even though it doesn't really matter because this is going in the back, but it's stock officer. So yeah, I think that should be good to bolt up, and I think now we'll test that and then get to work on putting all the other gaskets and everything we need onto this thing. And we're not going to talk about the timing stuff because that's scary, so we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. Alright, let's jump into it. Alright, it's not going to come off easily with just like my hands, I guess. Wouldn't they take this off?
It helps, but you don't have to.
I don't have to. I told you we should have taken them off.
Well, the good news is it
Your fault. Okay, so I'm gonna work on taking this front timing chain cover off, so enjoy. Not gonna be too hard, just this and then the rest of these bolts surrounding, so.
Attraction, only one way to describe it. It's electric, can you feel it? You got the only touch that takes me high. It's electric, I'm up in my feelings. Got double vision 'cause of you tonight. It's electric.
Oh my god, oops, okay. That doesn't seem healthy.
We're fine. And at this point we should be able to pull the chain off, and then let's put it in one of the plastic bags so it doesn't get any kind of crud on it.
Lost in your eyes every time, there's no turning back. Swear I ain't got a chance. Had me caught up in you since the night on the terrace, yeah. You had me falling fast. When you're here, you spark chemical reactions. Your aura strikes like lightning. Got no words, I'm just drowning in attraction. Only one way to describe it.
Okay, so now here's a little 40-degree limiter, and I don't understand literally any of this, but it goes there, is what it says, so it's in there now. Voila. Now hopefully this helps save this motor from the destruction the F20C got. Okay, so I'm working on pulling the oil pump and all that, so currently taking off the pan. David's gonna work on cutting up the Type S oil pump to make it fit in here with the K20 oil pan. So hopefully this all goes smooth. Probably gonna have to put music over this because there's gonna be a ton of grinding noises and whatnot from that one. So let's get to it.
Tonight, it's electric.
Okay, so now I'm gonna pull out these two little baffles that were in here to put in the new one.
Like you do. It's electric. Can you feel it? You got the only touch that takes me high.
Okay, so it's the next morning and we are getting straight back to work on the K24, installing the Type S oil pump, oil pan baffle. David did an awesome job trimming up the pump to fit into the K24. Made light work of that, so very exciting. Making more progress on getting this thing together and refreshed and upgraded to go into the S2000. So let's get back to work and start installing parts. Okay, so now we are putting in the extra baffle to hopefully help avoid any similar issues. Hopefully. Okay, so here's the baffle all installed, new oil pump, new baffle here. So we're making progress. Okay, so cover's back on, everything's all back together. Valve cover's just sitting on top to keep everything clean and safe. So that's where we're stopping for today, but we'll be right back to get back to work on it. Okay, it's Christmas Eve, but we are working on the K24 today because the rain has taken a slight break for a little bit. So I'm gonna open up the garage doors so you can see, get to work on this. There's still some stuff to do and not too much until we're ready to start dropping the motor in and fixing up the harness, getting that all sorted to be ready to go. So let's get back to work on the K24. Okay, I'm repping the royal purple socks today. As you can see, they're gonna peek out, but I'm going to work on replacing the gaskets on here, and David's gonna work on the harness because there's a few things that have to be modified. Okay, so we have the flange coming off the thermostat flipped. On the US version of this, it actually just had a little notch in it to keep it face the other direction, so we just got rid of that notch and it fits really nicely on here actually. So saves money on a swivel mount for this, so really glad that that worked out. And yeah, looks good, sealed. So pretty much all set up on this piece right here. So we're going to work on getting the adapter motor mount plates and then obviously the mounts themselves here bolted up to the K24. Okay, so now the intake manifold gasket is properly bolted down. This is properly bolted down. There's actually a gasket on here that goes to both. So that's all set. David's working on getting the adapter mount on for the motor mounts to go into the S2000. Then, otherwise I think we're making pretty good progress. And it's all coming together and it's actually starting to look like a motor again, which is very exciting. I'm very excited. Okay, so that is where we are going to end this video. Pretty much all the prep is done. The motor's pretty much fully refreshed at this point. There's only a couple things left to drop it in, which will be in the next video because I do believe the next video we should be seeing the motor in the S2000. So super excited. Only thing that is on its way for the swap is the ECU, so hopefully we can see the motor dropped in and potentially start here in the next video or two. So super excited. I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out, and I will catch you in the next one.